republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's do it.
Next item we have tonight is the presentation of the agenda. Is there anything anybody would like to move to change at the agenda tonight?
I would like to amend the agenda as follows. I would like to move item 15D, drain discussion up and make it item 6. And I would like to move under new business 16I for a mighty control program discussion number 7. And then everything else down.
Do you support? All fair say aye.
Aye.
Motion, or I'm sorry, the agenda will stand as amended. Next item we have, public comment. We'll start on agenda items. We'll start with our fiscal year 24-25 general fund budget public hearing. Motion would be in order to call the public hearing to order.
So moved.
Support? All fair say aye.
Aye.
Next item will be the presentation of the fiscal year 24-25 general fund budget. Is there any public comment on the 24-25 general fund budget tonight? Hearing none, is there any further discussion by the board of the fiscal year 24-25 general fund budget? Okay. Hearing none, a motion is in order to adjourn the public hearing of the fiscal year 24-25 general fund budget. Yes. All fair say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion is carried. Next item would be the fiscal year 24-25 fire and EMS budget, first public hearing. A motion is in order to call the public hearing to order.
I'll make that motion.
Support. All fair say aye.
Aye.
Next item is the presentation of the fiscal year 24-25 fire and EMS fund budget. Is there any public comment on the fire and EMS fund budget? Hearing none, is there any further discussion by the board with fire and EMS fund budget? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn the public hearing of the fiscal year 24-25 fire and EMS fund budget is ordered. Support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next item we have is Ann Akivetti from the Macomb County Bank Commission. Yeah, Ann, all you?
I'm going to try to plug in here, depending on how many questions. What would you like?
Well, wherever your court allows you to do it. Be here, might be okay. I'd like to hear the bonus.
I can't see. Back on for a second. I might need to come back, because I'm not sure the crowd's going to get to see that screen. That's not the right one. Okay, try it out. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
You can't see the screen. Mostly,
You are in the middle of one.
what's that? I'm right in the middle of it, right? Luckily my podium rolls around. Roll over here. How's that? Better? A rolling podium. Is that good for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of Candace Miller, just something real brief. I know there's a ton of discussion on what can we do to manage rainwater. And I'll real briefly go over a couple of the complications of rainwater. And that is basically, out of all the kinds of water and infrastructure we put in, and I'll go to this slide here. We manage sanitary sewer, which in Richmond Township, here 100% on cells, septics and septics and wells. Drinking water, I do not believe you guys have a potable municipal drinking water supply system. And recreational activities, so you're using these lakes, rivers, and streams for kayaking, boating, more Lake St. Clair. So when it comes to Richmond Township, stormwater is the key. Stormwater is the key. And the reason why we're in this, and I'm going to go a little off script here, to the complications of managing our stormwater is it's the only public asset, public utility, shared thing that we provide, that government provides collectively to the individuals. It does not have a funding source. So it's very clear when your electricity goes off, everyone knows you've got a problem inside your house, or you've got a problem with Detroit Edison. Cable, same thing. You pay a bill. If you're in a municipality with a sewer and water supply system, you pay a monthly water and sewer bill. Roads get funded 100% through gas tax and vehicle registration fees. Water is a different animal. Rainwater has been basically neglected and overlooked for hundreds of years. And just recently, a new emphasis, starting with the Clean Water Act in the early 70s, put an emphasis on managing the waste, basically. It was sanitary sewer, the industrial runoff, and it left us with stormwater having a very convoluted mechanism to manage it. So hence, you end up with where we are, which is private property owners have little to no recourse to move their water off their property and ultimately downstream to its safe destination. I'm going to give one quick little analysis here. So Richmond Township's kind of an interesting one in Macomb County in that you're the only township that has quite a bit of your township goes to the Bell River watershed. The rest of Macomb County is going to Clinton River. So that water is taking a 45-mile-an-hour journey, and it is popping out in Green City once it gets to that watershed. The rest is going south. So it all starts with knowing your own infrastructure, knowing your own assets, knowing what jurisdictions that water needs to go through, and most of the time it's going to fall on the property owners. And up here in Richmond Township, it's beautiful land, the unbelievable amount of farmland and folks that just know that, right? I mean, you dig ditches and you're managing this water on your own. Well, the problem comes when it's neighbors, right? How do you get it downstream? Which I just had a conversation with Mr. Russ, I believe. And that's basically the complication. The drain maps, Ken Goyke is here. He said these drain maps are available online. As soon as Commissioner Miller got in office, I guess coming up on 8 years. Know your assets, right? Know everything that you have. Know its condition. Know its capabilities. Know what was happening with that asset and what it's capable of. Well, those drain maps tell the story for Macomb County Public Works. If it is a Macomb County Public Works established drain, that means it was established pursuant to the drain code, which originated in the 1800s, hasn't been amended since 1956. Most of these drains were not established. They were established in the early 1900s. One I just looked at 1952, and they haven't been touched since 1952. So hence, you've got years of, you have multiple problems coming at us. One is years of lack of maintenance. Trees are wonderful for our environment. They're wonderful for our water quality. They're wonderful to help this. However, a 4-foot diameter tree in a drainage swale or a ditch, 50 of them, that eliminates the ditch, is going to cause flooding. And that lack of maintenance, general maintenance, I'm happy to see that you have Frank Laney's on the agenda tonight as well. That lack of general maintenance of actually in the channel throughout decades upon decades put us in this position where we are today. So this will be my third year. Before myself, it was Ken Goyke running the drain maintenance program that Candace Miller started and has been funded in a 50-50 match through the Macomb County Board of Commissioners, which we are very grateful for. And that is to try to get a handle on fixing some of these 50, 60, 70, 100-year-old drains that haven't been touched and restoring them back into their original condition. The last 2 years, we've allocated $12,500 towards a match. That got done in the last, since 2022, approximately 4 miles. The drains that we focused on is up the Schaefer. There's a lot of pressure coming from St. Clair County, and that's this top district here. And the Gillette drain last fall. And right now the log drain is getting worked on in coordination with our office and some very motivated landowners and farmers there. I am hoping, I'm not ready to present which drains, which areas. I can dive into any one of those as we go along. I'm hoping to increase that number for your fiscal year 24-25, which I believe starts July 1st. And then increase that the following year as well to start taking these 2-3 miles a year that we can do and making 4 or 5. At least our network will be back up to where it belongs. And then couple that with some education. And education from the farming community seems to be pretty easy. They have equipment, they know how to do this, they know how to make sure that those drains are not blocked, they know how to make sure those culverts don't get full of sediment, they know how to manage those assets, but every year keeping an eye on these, or every multiple years keeping an eye on these, finding the risks, knowing which ones, and there's going to be a lot of them here that are going to present risks, and I can run through some photos. And then putting the pressure on the proper government agencies to manage, to start fixing some of those issues. So that's what I'm asking for. I would love to see, if possible, that 12.5 double to 25, or maybe even 30, if possible. But any amount that you could continue to contribute. On the screen here, what you see in green, we've already touched in the last couple of years. These areas, this is being worked on right now, that's the log, this is the Gillette, and this part of the Schaefer. Now your entire network is 35 miles. All of it is not as critical. All of it doesn't need to be touched immediately because it's not directly leading to flooding and property damage. We also dodged a bullet today. A pretty big storm came through, and the bulk of it was right down here. So some of our districts down Chesterfield and Baltimore and the east side of Macomb Township actually are feeling heavy property damage, heavier structure damage. We are getting heavier rain events. That is a reality and a fact that we're dealing with. And you couple the lack of maintenance with those heavier rain events, and they're mostly an intensity event. Essentially, when it comes to rainfall, we got duration, intensity, frequency. We are getting very intense events. Last night we had 1.88 inches of rain fall in about an hour. Now it's no problem to get 1.8 inches of rain over a day. That's a nice sprinkle, but when it falls in an hour, and I do have some models here I can show, it's devastating to the infrastructure because it's just not designed for that. So I can jump into any specifics, any districts. I don't know if now is the time to do it. Right now, basically the ask is if you can find it in your budget, to work on, to give us a little bit more funding for 24-25 from our point of view. That work will start in July, and it will span all the way to next July and even through next year, and we can stretch that a very, very long time.
What I would ask too, Dan, is where can you see the most critical points in the next year, 1 to 2 years, where you want the increase in that funding? And what drains and how many miles you think we could expect?
Well, it's gonna depend on. So this sheet here is showing all the watersheds seems to be where the property damage is coming from. So this is, all the water that goes here is going into the Bell River. So it's these districts, and it comes complaint driven. Like I've heard 2 or 3 more today that I didn't know, right? So when I know of them, then you look at the critical districts, like this log drain, which is right here. Very, very flat from Cost Road, across First and on. This is the area that we worked on a little bit this fall. Well, a ton of grade and fall starts happening once it gets to the Bell, so this is a little more critical. And it is also causing property damage. You had a tremendous amount of farmland that was lost in this area. So hence it's a squeaky wheel, right? So areas that I'd like to look at are the Smith, the Jeffries, moving down to the Clinton River watershed, the Ward drain. You'll see that I've already flown this with a drone several times. I've walked this entire drain. Is it as critical as the other ones? I guess it depends on whose water's flowing, what water's getting impacted.
Yeah.
So they're all critical, but it is important to note that we got a whole county full of these, and the priority is property damage. And the goal of the drain office is to maintain flow. We cannot focus on aesthetics. This is not something to make it look better. This is not a fragmite treatment or trees that are not impacting the flow. So hence, a lot of that's going to fall on the property owners to start mowing and maintaining as close to those drains when it's dry as they can. Get rid of the saplings, get rid of the trees that are right in the channel before they become 2, 3, 4 footers, and you've got tons of them here that are already at that level. So those areas will change, and also, Chris, it's going to change every time it rains. So whenever it rains, a new problem will arise. Not to mention the varmints and the beavers. Those little guys, we relocate them. They do some pretty amazing work. I got some pictures I can also share when I come back in July, once I figure out how much what piece of the pie I have to play with. So, and it varies too on price. So if you're dealing with there's basically three steps to this process. One is removing overgrowth. We will only remove dead stuff or vegetation. Every live tree will be saved unless it is directly impacting the flow of that drain. So with the deadfall, which there's tons of it, that's going to go. The shrub that you know is going to be a problem is in clogged downstream culverts. That's going to go. So that's phase number 2. The second step would be reshaping to historical depth. So in that instance, and this is what I'm going to get to your cost question, it's going to depend on how much sediment. So you're dealing with 6 inches or you're dealing with 2 feet. And then what kind of grade you got to play with in between culverts. A lot of these drains in the areas that are problematic are 1%. And that is not enough. So we know those are going to be a little more critical. The tree removal is the most expensive piece. And then the third is restoration, which is light seed, mulch, and restoring it. And in this area, we're not worried about sod and sprinklers and lawn. So this can be done very efficiently. $6 a foot is generally the cost, and your piece of that would be just about that.
Well, you've got the log drain, we've got a lot of that done. There's very little of that left.
That's correct. Little spots here. So if this piece gets done here, which I know the property owners are working on this on there by themselves, so we're keeping an eye on them. They are not. It's very important to note too that they're able to do that because they're maintaining. They're basically removing vegetation. They are not adding new taps. That is outside of our purview. So this little piece of the log we'll keep an eye on. There's a lot of grade from that area. Some areas that I would like to look at are the Jeffries and the Smith, and I didn't really know that they were problems, but I've heard 2 or 3 here today. And the Ward drain. I know the Ward have been out there before, but again, it hasn't been as critical. So. And then we do have to finish these 2 pieces of the Schaefer. So this piece of the Schaefer is complete. We got that piece here to that point, and then all the way to the
But going back to the log drain,
Which
finish that up. But most of that work was done by the local farmers. What are you going,
That's correct. So here,
are we gonna get charged for that, or is that something that they've done, or what, you know, you're looking for cost sharing from us. And we're probably willing to do the 25,000. Where's that $25,000 gonna go? The log drain is basically, there's very little of that left. And
somewhere, so the idea, Vern, would be collectively this board, coupled with the complaints that come to our office. We'll handle the day-to-day complaints, which could be a beaver dam, it could be a tree down, it could be, and generally, those property owners, the farmers, they're gonna take care of those problems, right? They got the equipment to do it, but so it'll do those spot blockages, and then we'll continue to inch away at 35 miles.
yeah,
Wherever wherever that's most urgent and most needed.
so well, I guess what I'm asking, we're not gonna get a bill for the log drain.
No, you're done, your program is done, and we'll keep, your program's done until July.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got no more bills, that's already, you're all covered until July.
But are you gonna finish the last part of that log drain? Because the farmer that has that left,
This piece here you're talking?
no, it goes over to Clough Road.
That?
Around the area from that
If needed, so we can add that, so I put that here as green, that's getting worked on now. If that needs to get done, then we can do that in July when the new funding comes. And that's a pretty
The other
big
part is what the other farmers took care of, because it was their property. This farmer does not have the ability to do what they did, unless he's willing to pay them back to do it, I'm just saying. You know, he's my neighbor, and he's asked me, and I said, well, I'm gonna find out if they have the intent to finish the log drain, because then the log drain would be done.
If this piece, I hear you, Vern.
Yeah.
If this piece is not done, if this little piece is not done,
Yeah.
we'll do that first, no matter what, out of the box.
Yeah.
With next year's funding.
Yeah.
Now, remember, if there's a flooding problem here, that water's going,
Yeah.
that's not gonna help.
I know they're on the dividing line now, because that's part of my farm, so I kind of know that. The flooding on the log drain was farther down, right in that area. Yeah, we know that.
So the one more piece there that you should look at, which is right here, is these culverts. So those,
Yeah,
that's those culverts.
Going across first.
Yup, and those are road commission, so that would not be with us. These culverts,
So-
it might need to be jetted, and eventually they might need to be replaced in increase in size.
So if we can't get, so how will we get those fixed?
That's a request through the road commission.
Yeah. That's something we would have to do. You're not going to do that.
It's not our asset.
No, that's what I'm just saying.
We actually cannot, we cannot work on it. Just like another important factor for, you look at your whole township, which is beautiful and big. If it's not a light blue line here, or the green that we've already touched, we don't have an easement. We don't have any right to build on our property.
You can only go to the county drain.
That's correct. Same.
But I mean, unlike them culverts there, you cannot go to the road commission
Well-
and say, hey, we're doing this project.
I got a list of them.
Hurry up.
I've got a long list, and the road commission's been great. But no, they have, their funding comes 100% from gas tax and from vehicle registration. And they're doing everything they can, but there's a lot of potholes, and there's a lot of unsafe roads.
Oh, yeah, you know, that's not their only problem. Yeah, but I mean, that would,
Should they get that jetted?
but I think it's going to need to be more than jetted, but that's.
So the idea would be to focus on the Smith.
That's what I guess my next
The
question.
Jeffries.
Where would you want to go next?
The Smith, well, finish up this piece of the Schaefer here. Start eating and tackling the Smith drain, which is this section right there, and the Jeffries, which is the one below it, and the Ward. Now again, that could change. It's pretty quick. And then a lot of the complaint, I'm sorry, I will let you do it. I do want to comment on one more thing. The complicated part is going to be all of these natural water courses. So you see your drainage districts, when they were established in the 50s, they end well short of the Bell River. These are very, very big gullies. There's some concerns. Our jurisdiction ends here. That means we do not have an easement, we do not have the right to even trespass or fund on that or go on that property to do anything. So there's a lot of these outfalls where generally speaking, your outfalls would go right into right into the river or right into a big waterway. But you got gaps. And those gaps do have a lot of grade. In some instances, 20, 30 feet that fall. But you're starting to see some very big erosion and very big problems there. Those ones are going to need a bigger solution. That could require the entire township, the state of Michigan, and Eagle for permitting will have to get involved, and potential new drainage districts, which takes multiple years, and potentially some legislation in the state of Michigan doing Chapter 22 of the Drain Code, which could allow this to potentially be expanded. But those are a lot more.
So examples of that, being real quick, the Eagle ones and that we can't touch. Maybe Bell River would fall into that, and some of those other bigger natural waterways.
Absolutely. If it is not on this sheet, right, this drain, if it is not, so you see all these little, so you have two spots to look for this. One is Home GIS, and you should have people over here as well. We can get that to you. And it's a vast majority.
We have one here.
The vast majority of your waterways here are private or Eagle. So what's that mean? That doesn't mean that if it's blocked with a tree, you can remove the tree. But what you can't do is change that water course. If you start adding riprap, rerouting the drain, adding new big taps into the thing, you're gonna have Eagle on that. That's a violation of the Clean Water Act, and it creates problems. That just means that your township engineer or a consultant engineer is gonna have to get involved and start jumping through those hoops. Doesn't mean it's not solvable. However, it's something you should start thinking about now. If there's areas that you know are problems, you can start kicking around how to get maybe some grants to change a culvert that's a 42 inch that really needs to be 60. You might be able to get grant funded for some of those culverts as well, which is what we should look at.
So if we put the 25,000 in there, how much of this can we get done in the next year for the 24-25 year?
Quite a bit. You're going to be able to get twice as much done, 3 to 4 miles, right? And now you're still eating 35-mile/per-hour.
Yes.
But instead of inching away at it at 1.5 to 2 miles a year, and no, none of this was done until Commissioner Miller came in here. And this all ends with, as long as we need Board of Commissioners support, your County Commissioner Don Brown's been a board for this. I don't know if he's here or not.
He is.
No, so if that funding and that match program still exists, you're going to get it's going to minimum 2 miles, potentially 4 miles per year. Well, and the idea is to use that in the most critical places on your open drain.
And are you the ones that would specify where the critical areas are?
Well, it would come from this board. We definitely would take yes. I have plenty of miles of places that we can.
But your concern right now is the one going into the Bell River, more so than
The Gillette, which we jumped on, the Schaefer, that it's causing problems up in St. Clair County, and I just heard today, these two areas and the ward. The ward drain is
that one's going to the Clinton.
That's correct. Now there's these districts over here, which is the Teske Log Branch, and I'm just lumping into one. This is the Carpi J, strange district. It's actually running. The drain itself is fine, but there's some real concerns where it crosses Andrews, right around this location, a bank stabilization standpoint. I have spoken to that residents multiple times. So we'll be looking to, one, your residents, and two, this board, especially if we're going to be asking you for more funds. Maybe we want to, I would recommend getting the entire log drain done, get the entire Schaefer drain done, and then remember, 5 years from now, that might just need a quick mow.
Yeah.
That might get you down for $50,000 cents a foot or a buck a foot, so long as there's not other issues going on or any natural disasters. And then once you get it back up to snuff, they're easy to maintain. So the Smith and the Jeffries are where my focus would be.
So you guys, a lot of times with these drains, a lot of times it's not the trees, sometimes it's the catch. If that happens, and even though it's a county drain, you guys ain't gonna go down on it if somebody goes out and takes the.
And not only that, I would encourage you to.
Yeah.
So long as you're not moving bulldozers in and you're not, anything by hand, anything with normal lawn mowing, landscaping equipment to mow your lawn and remove the trees from the flow, you should do everything possible to protect that beautiful 100-year black walnut, which I know you would never take down, even if it is on the bank. But the shrub, I would encourage you. So yes, now if you get over your skis and start getting excavators out there, well, you're gonna have soil erosion problem and you could potentially have an eagle problem.
Sometimes the only way you're gonna get cattails out is to get a excavator in there, just scrape the
Well,
bottom.
I see you have a Phragmites partnership with Six Rivers. That's one piece of it, is to you chemically treat them, mow them, you can do some burns. Those are going to be a never-ending battle.
Yeah.
If you need to knuckle with
That's what I mean.
your farmers, that is not changing the drain, it's not causing soil. You'll know when you cause soil erosion grass.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not doing that. So those are the areas that I think we need to look at come July, when I actually ask for the, I think I'll have you back, once we know what kind of money we're dealing with, I can nail in on some specific projects. Any other questions? I am more than willing to,
We'll start behind you, Cindy.
So if we figure out a way to come up with 25,000 or however much we can come up with, can you only match that at 50%? Could you give us any more of a match for that if we can?
well, go ahead, I'm sorry, finish
That's
your
okay.
question.
I was just going to ask that, and the second part of my question was, I heard you mention that there are grants that can be written to help with that. Is that something that you could point us in the direction of where to find those grants to apply for?
Right now, I can't, right, because you're always just keep an eye out for.
Okay, I just wondered if you were aware of some other communities. That
I'm not.
do that.
I know that right now we're in a time with the state legislatures and the federal government are doing a lot with, with ARPA funds and with those pork projects, I guess, for various things that have the right story behind them. So I'll start with your congressperson, state reps, state senators, and seeing which pots of money you could get and tell your story to potentially help with some of this funding. DNR's got some, DEQ has some, and a lot of the conservancy groups also have some.
And then back to the first part of the question, if the county could come up with a bigger match, if we can find 25,000.
Absolutely. Yeah, probably not, the Board of Commissioners has been very generous with our
And we appreciate that.
with our match program, but it is for the entire county. And know that your Richmond Township we've got a lot of big enclosed, and you can't see it anymore. I'm looking at my screen here. That are, once you get south, there's a lot of drains that don't cost $6 a foot. They cost $600. Right. And so that pot is small, or that pot is finite. But we could go up, we could get a little bit more aggressive. I'm very confident.
Yes, I was sitting here, and I'm sure I know very little about this, but you were explaining what money can be used for, and so it can't be anything for us, and I thought, we are generally here just using it for people's livelihoods, and, for us, that's it, that's what it's about. So,
Now, you guys can also initiate projects. So if this drain match program didn't exist, you could get with your design engineer and you would do a drain clean out for this 1 mile, replace this culvert, come up with the funding, but you're not going to be dealing with 25,000. You might be dealing with 250,000.
absolutely.
Once you start talking about replacing these culverts and adding relief sewers or relief ditches, relief drains, you just keep adding zeros. But you have to have them as well.
So then I'm switching gears on here, going back to what Vern was talking about, when he kept asking which drainage you would start on, and you were kind of indicating where that would be. And he, said, how do you make your mind up? Would you be willing to talk to a small group of our farming community to get their feelings on where they thought it was most important, or is that not something you not generally engage like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that's exactly
They
what,
probably know better than you.
that's exactly where these come from. They come from the 50 complaints that are on our portal or on our phone from today.
Great.
Right? So then you analyze and say, this one we can't handle. It's a road commissioner, it's a private culvert failure issue. This one's something that needs a little digging, and that's what led us to the shaper. Right? So you have multiple problems there, and the log drain, frankly. A couple of residents did a very good job reaching out to us.
Yes.
I went in and found that they're losing 10, 20 acres of land, and designed that project with existing grades, figured out what it would cost. It didn't get done fast enough, so that the property owners are getting that done in concert with us.
That's right.
Along the way.
Thank you.
So that's where it comes from. It's complaint driven, it's resident driven.
Okay.
A lot of them we're going to have to say no to, because a lot of them are not going to be ours. You'll be surprised how many of those we get that are in this, you can see the screen, in an area that's not a county drainage. Yes?
Yeah, how much easement does these county drains have?
Varies, right? So back in the day, and you got Ken Blakey here who knows more about the drain code. He was in the legislature and did a lot of work on the drain code. I don't know how much it's been amended. Some of them are as low, some of them are as small as 20, 30 feet. Some of them are as big as 250 feet. So you get on the south end, if any new development comes through, Richmond's very unique. You don't have development pressure. It's a whole different animal when you move a township and a half south, or 2 townships south. Whole different animal. You're taking easement to be able to develop the density that they got. And another misnomer I would like to, so those easements are generally going to be 60 feet, 30 foot aside. However, you might have too small an easement. You might have 20 foot. Now there's some legalese that still allow you to maintain that easement and to get rid of the trees, which a lot of farmers, you don't have a job. Really, obviously you have to. That's your livelihood. So those easements vary. They vary, and they could vary in the same district.
Now, what about the trees themselves? So if you got a 200-year-old tree, what are you going to do with the tree once you get dug up?
Well, if it's alive and healthy, we're going to save it.
I mean, a 200-year tree, let's say something that's 3 foot round.
If it's dead, it's going to stay on the property. It generally will be staying on the property owner, because you're not getting this done for $6 a foot.
If the tree's in the middle of the ditch.
Yeah, so it's case by case. It's a case by case basis. If it's a tree, you'll run around it. If the flow can happen, if it can't, the tree goes, and it generally will stay on the property owners. Remember this: the tree is the property owners. That is not the drainage district. The drainage district just needs to move the water. All those trees are owned by the property owners. So you check with your local municipality, I guess, on tree ordinance, and the responsibility to remove those trees is generally speaking on the property owner.
So you could dig around the trees and ditch, right?
Technically, yes. You got to make sure you're staying within the easement. You got to make sure you're staying. You have the right to do that. Generally speaking, that's what we would do in some of the rural areas to preserve that 200-year tree. But as erosion comes in, there's roots that could be actually taking up. If you got 10% fall, or 5% fall, and you can handle losing some of that. I see Ken chomping at the bit on that one. So it's a case by case basis, and I'm more than willing to sit down. I enjoyed the quick conversation we had and jump into these specifically on a case by case basis.
Again, how many other municipalities or townships take advantage of this match program?
Most. I have a map up here that shows. The only ones that don't are, haven't had a contract with Romeo yet, and here's why. They really don't have any drains. Right? You can't see the street.
I don't see it.
And the programs in the south, the east East Point, Roseville, a lot of their drains are enclosed, so they have a different, they have very little pop-up. Majority of them do. Some more than others. The largest area is Chesterfield and New Baltimore actually got pretty devastated in last year's storm, so their program this year is a little bit bigger. Macomb, Shelby, Washington, they're generally those areas. The middle six townships in the community.
And if we needed some help with getting those tubes replaced across First and Road, would you be willing, or the office be willing to just write a recommendation letter to the Department of Roads?
The letter will come from Commissioner Miller, and I'm sure she would, that I can move in the right direction for that request.
I have a question.
Yes.
On Big Can, I don't know if that connects with one of the drains or not. It looks like a very large drain, but I don't know, all that I'm looking up online. Someone has dumped an animal trap into the drain. And this is an area where the road was actually eroded about a year and a half ago. And with all of our rain I've seen in the last week, I've noticed last Thursday, so in 6 days it's going 3 times. Now it's starting to block again, heading towards. Is that something I would call you? I've called the road commission and no response.
So that's something that, once we finish this meeting, I'll go out there where we're quiet, grab a chair and my computer, grab your address, pinpoint the exact location, and see if it's something that we can help with.
Okay, thank you.
Or
I mean,
I'll point you in the right direction and you might be frustrated.
well, somebody also dumped a 5-gallon bucket of dead fish and live fish. So now there's catfish swimming in that drain.
Well, if you ever see
And
any,
you're going to get to the Bell River.
what was your name again?
50.
Vicki, if you ever, if zero tolerance on pollution. So if you ever see a sheen, oil, and any of that type of stuff in these waterways, you call our office. You go to our website, you call our office. Fish, kind of where they live.
I just kind of laugh about it, but I was more concerned about the animal trap. And initially, I didn't know if there was an animal in it. Since it's moved twice now, I can see that there was a dead animal.
Sounds like they might be going after beaver, like the beaver.
Maybe that could be.
When I come back, I'll show you some doozy pictures of
It is
beaver.
brown, so that could be it. I'm just more concerned because that road has eroded in the past. When you walk your dog, you see a lot more stuff.
Once we get down, I'll grade, and anyone else as well, if that's okay, I would be more than willing to stand up there. I would like, Commissioner Brown, did I miss anything?
No, you did an outstanding job. You're doing what the Board of Commissioners wanted done. There's so much drain work needs to be done in this county because it's been neglected for decades. And Candace Miller came along and took hold of it. The Board of Commissioners seeing the need, we threw serious money in the last budget. We'll continue to do that because it's needed. It goes out and spent, and we'll work with communities to get you what you need to get the job done. So if you got something that push needs to shove, we could probably work something out. We're flexible enough to do that. Regarding those big culverts, my friends here just pointed out to me earlier this week, maybe it was in the last week. Department of Roads has got it. I was on with them today, asked if they could come out today, and they didn't have anybody available to come out tonight. But they are aware of it, and I'm waiting for a response from them as to what they're going to do, if anything, about those culverts. But they've got it, and I'm aware of it. We'll stand on the dog to the bone. So, but yeah, you've covered it. I mean, it's all about getting the work done, and there's more work to be done than we've got resources to do right now, and manpower and equipment for that matter. But Danny's doing a good job, and found on the heels of Ken and before him. But Public Works is doing their job, and just takes money and equipment. Thanks.
How's the neighboring counties handle the drains compared to Macomb, like St. Clair, Washington?
They
all seem to got pretty.
Pursuant to the drain code, we are the only county that I know of that has a match program funded by Macomb County Public Works General Fund. So in that instance, what you see is forced assessments and a forced, you see more of a forced situation for making the community pay.
Well, I mean, really, that you got special assessments for everything else. Why not as farmers? And that's all I read is you guys want to keep farming in Macomb County, What a big farce.
So that can be done. So if the district wants to get together and do a special assessment district, that's funding on top of this. So I'm all ears for that. And you may have some of these districts where you are willing to, that entire district, and maybe when we go offline, I can show you some of the districts that you could fund all these improvements and maintenance yourself as a district, and the mechanism is there today on top of this match program. So that actually exists. Ken, if you can-
Quick answer to you, George, is they're all paying for it on their taxes. It all comes on a separate bill on your taxes for that water district. I know that's the way St. Clair County does it, the rest of the state. And I used to go to the, all the conferences with all the drain commissioners, and that's what they're doing. So if you petition that, the people in that water district, you have to have 51% of the people that want to go for it, then his department will go out and get a price for what it's going to cost, and that'll go on to your taxes according to how much property you own in that water district. That's how St. Clair, Lapeer, all the other counties do it.
Well, I think that would be a good route to start. Because I mean, if this farmer wants his ditch dug,
The downside is you gotta get 51%.
so 51%, right.
In the district to want to do it.
And this county here is probably going to be safe because it's got enough farmers that own land that they can have it done. Well, I don't know about
that's a definite possibility for some of these districts, and I'd like to talk about some of your specific ones, but you'll be getting a tax assessment on those, just like a special assessment.
Yeah.
Well, that is an option. Well, I think I've taken up a lot of your time.
Over here, Elaine, do you have any further
Oh, I
questions?
thought it was
for
great.
Ian?
No, I have a lot of notes. Thanks.
Thank you. If it's okay with you, I'll hang out up there and see if everyone has any questions or have some more notes in the end.
Thanks for coming.
Will we see you in July?
I will talk to Supervisor Wendy with yeah, sure. July probably makes perfect sense. I think your budget, maybe even when your budget was passed, you're doing
Well, I mean, did it really kill you? I mean, the extra money for that.
as long as I know it's in the budget.
It really did.
We'll go and reach out anytime.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I know all about the because I got all my
Okay. Next item on the agenda tonight, we have a 600 conservancy presentation.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Thank you so much. So, my name is Chris Bunch. I'm not nearly as entertaining as Danny is, nor as smart. So I'll try not to fuck you out. And yes, Amanda Ruffini, who is our director of the System of the Cooperative Waste Treatment Management Area, would normally be doing this presentation, but it's for some second person. So I stepped in front of the bus so that she could be out there with her family having a birthday party. Thank you very much for having us. Very much like what Andy was talking about, there's a sort of parallel program that happens out at Roads, which is a cost share program to manage frag money in the ditches of the roads in the township. And so the Macomb County Department of Roads will match what the township puts into managing these frag monies to killing them and removing them from the ditches and the right-of-ways in order to increase the water flow, the drainage capacity, and to remove the line of sight obstruction that you get with frag monies thrown on the corner. So many of the townships are involved in that. We're here talking about it because we actually manage it for the road department. We do all the surveying and the mapping, and then we put out the proposals for bids and work with the townships then to select a contractor, and then we manage all of the contracts and we manage all of the invoicing and all of the paying. And so we do that for Department of Roads. It sort of takes that off their back, and they match up to 50%. They match 50% of what the township will put in. I don't remember what the number is this year. I think they're committing $30,000 So it's somewhere in that ballpark. Many of your neighboring townships participate in this. In fact, I think all of them do. I think you're one of the, one of the ones at the northern end that hasn't gotten involved yet. And so we're hoping we can add you in this year because the more, the better, right? We get better pricing as we get to higher volume. We reduce the muster fees for the contractors coming, so they can come here and work for several days in a row, so on and so forth. So we would love to have you join this program. If you're interested in doing that, I think you guys will set the number. So if you say we want to spend $5,000 this year, the county will match you at $5,000. I know that some townships, I know that there was a year that I think Chesterfield Township spent $15,000 and the county matched that. Most of the townships won in the $5,000 to $10,000 spent. So, and in the first year, it's typically going to be higher. It just depends on how much you can hit in the first year as to what the cost will be in the second year. So you're probably not going to do all of your ditches this year. I can't tell you how many of them have fragmented, but I haven't been out here mapping that or looking at that. But our staff will go out and map that and come back and tell you how much there actually is. And then if you set a budget to, pick a number. If you set a budget of we'll spend $3,000 on it this year and the county matches $3,000, they'll map it all out and then tell you how much of it you can actually treat this year. And then you would look at, where you go next year to treat the next batch of it until you eventually will get it under control. So I hope that is reasonably done. Not nearly as technical as Danny, but as I shout at the SISMA people every day, go out and kill the weeds.
Who does the assessments on these? Is it the Department of Roads or does your...
The assessments, you mean...
the determining need?
So our staff goes out and does that. Our staff, yeah. So, and we'll do it with the advice of the township, right? You guys live here and you'll tell us, hey, we know we got a problem here and here. So then our staff will go out and literally map it, right? We send 2 staff people out, so one is driving, and the other one is GPS mapping. And then that's transferred to a GIS map, and then we're able to tell you actually how many lineal feet it is, and the bids we get are per linear foot, right? So 10,000 linear feet at whatever it is, $15 a foot. I'll make it that, but
Is that survey done, or the cost to us?
So what we do is there's a $250 fee that the county matches. So it's $500 sort of administration fee, and that covers our costs of going out and doing the surveying and overseeing some of the paperwork. And then we get 10% of the overall cost, again, to handle some of the paperwork and some of the other costs. We have a sort of business pesticide applicator's license. We have to post all this stuff publicly in the papers, so that gets expensive. And then, we have all of the back and forth with the invoicing between the county, the township, and the contractor.
So before we commit, or we have to be committed to being part of this program before the survey's done?
That's right, yes. Yeah, so from a timing perspective, most everybody else has already signed up. If you looked at this, I think what we say is, look at the back, I think, so June 21st is when May 20th is when we start the survey. So that's, we're staring right down the barrel of that. And that typically ends by June 7th, by the first week in June, and then the treatment documents are circulated, the survey documents are circulated for verification and approval. You make a decision about how much you want to do, then we put out the RFP, the request for proposals, and we get the bids back, and then we sit down with a group and select which one we're going to work with, and then it goes from there. The treatment doesn't really happen until August or October. It's got to be done before first frost. So usually when the frag has started to tassel out in August is when
other towns?
Other townships in
Townships,
Macomb
sorry.
County, yeah. So Macomb County is managing this, so I know that we do Washington Township, Ray Township, I think we're doing Sterling Heights. And those are the ones I remember off the top of my head. I apologize for not being fully conversant with this. Amanda runs it. I was intimately involved with this when it started many years ago, and I've done my best to talk it out.
Because it's a lot of work. That's why we hire Amanda.
Well, I don't, you know, it may not have come to you yet, I don't know. I think we tried to
I don't
reach
recall
out to
ever hearing
everybody.
this.
That's probably,
I've been on the board 20 years.
that's probably on us then, and part of the challenge is that this is a pretty consuming thing, and now that we have Amanda and a couple of other staff members running it, we have the ability to reach out to other communities.
It's good on Washington.
Do you treat them?
So they're chemically treated, they're sprayed with, the active ingredient is glyphosate, which is the active ingredient that's in Roundup, but it's not Roundup that you use, it is an aquatic safe treatment. So glyphosate is the active ingredient, I don't remember the name of the surfactant, and it is targeted just to the ditches. And there are opportunities, you know, we have to notify the adjoining landowners, there are opportunities to do no spray, and that's all noted in the maps that the contractor has. So some people may have actually managed their ditch, and you've got frag on either side of a piece of property.
How long does this treatment, how long is it effective?
So you have to treat annually. It typically, I think it's like 70 to 80% kill rate for your first year. And then you come back and survey it again and determine how much you need to get the second year. But you have to stay on top of it. If you don't, come back and continue to knock it down. It's ferocious. Yeah, Phragmites is grass, right? 80% of the plant is underground.
Yep.
So what you see is nothing. 80% of it is underground, and Phragmites grows by seed, by rhizome, because it's grass, and it will actually sprout. If you cut a Phragmites stalk and it's laying in the water, you will see it sprout and start to spread rhizome out and grow more plants. So where we are doing some of this in concert with Amy's group too, in some of the drainage ditches and in some of the retention ponds, retention basins. So, you know, the best approach to all of this is to kill it, and then in the wintertime, cut and remove standing dead stuff so you can see what's coming up, and then to continue that process until you have largely replaced it. In our world, what's best is to do restoration. You kill the Phragmites, and then you come in and replace it with native plants, with native things that will, you know,
Take over the
will take over, will replace the Phragmites, and they provide much greater benefit to wildlife and the environment. But where you do that is sort of dependent on the nature of the property. So probably not able to do a lot of restoration in the roadside ditch that has a lot of management and treatment.
So I feel like I missed a dot here, bear with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We commit to this, say,
Yeah.
we commit $5,000 to
Yeah.
this. You go out and you survey,
Yep.
and you match us with 10,000, and or with the 5,000, so we have 10,000, and you treat us.
Yep.
And so this would be, say, an ongoing process, we would do the same next year, but if you have to go back and treat the ones you treated this year again, how are we ever getting anything?
It's going to be much. So it's going to be much less. Too bad I don't have. It's too bad I don't have Bonnie Cross here from Washington County, right? So Washington has been very aggressive about this, and you'll kill a mile section of road right away 1 year, and it will cost whatever it is. It's 5,200 feet at $10 a foot, so it's 5,200 or whatever. And then you come back and survey it the next year, you have 8% kill rate. So you reduce the amount of
Okay.
treatment. significant.
Thank
And
you.
then if you are substantially successful in this second treatment,
You keep that-
and by the
keep that.
third year, yeah, you should be able to leave it.
Okay.
And then you just need to stay on top of it. What you can't do is let it come back voracious. You need to, some of it you can just maintain, you can just mow it and stay on top of it. Then you can keep it down and keep it manageable. But, you know, once it gets stalks and this,
Right.
like, people are not mowing it for long, right? That's not happening. So, this is a way to get, to correct what's gotten out of control and then hopefully stay in front of it. The county will be halfway. My name is Chris Bunch, AUNCH. So I'm the executive director of Six Rivers Land Conservancy, and we run the cooperative invasive species management area. That's the program that manages this. So Amanda works for me. So anything good that happens, she did. And anything bad that happens is on my fault.
All right, good now.
All those in favor?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I got that. Chris said.
Just waiting for Chris. Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate the.
All right, thank you. And I will just say, on the way out the door, that I'm sure you all know that Mrs. Lafontaine is a fabulous daughter.
She's pretty fabulous herself, so.
She is, but I never get to see her. I actually usually only see her in company of her dog, but once in a while. I was thinking as I pulled in, the last time I was here was 5 or 6 years ago, probably, doing a presentation on Clinton River. So it's been quite a while. Too long. So, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for having me. And so you'll let us know if you want to be in. If you make that decision, let us know because we need to put it into the loop and get back because we're under the gun this year.
You have a phone number for us on your sheet?
Of course they did.
I can-
So anything that Amanda does is good.
Do you think the sheet's up, Chris?
No. 601.
Here it is.
2816 is our office number.
And this is your personal?
This is, yeah, and this is my,
Five eight six.
no, I'm not we're at our office. And my cell phone, you can call me directly, 762-623. And then ultimately, you know, if you have questions that require intelligence,
Thank you, Chris.
thanks, man. Have a fabulous evening.
Okay, thank you for your presentations. Next item before we move on, is there any other public comment on agenda items only this day?
How are you?
Hearing none, we'll go into the approval of the minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're going into the dream discussion as we amended at the beginning of the meeting. Can I get a motion to open discussion? Support? Okay, so we've heard from Mr. Secretary tonight.
I think the fact that we had this much participation
Can you
here.
use your microphone?
I'm sorry, thank you so much. Is that, can you hear me?
That's much better.
Okay, I think the fact that we had such good participation from our farming community, I absolutely would, agree to do the 25,000. We have budgeted 12,500. I know we do have some money left in the account that when we took all that money out to do the driveway, there's some money in there that we could use for this, or if we decide to do the Fred Mighty program, there's about $8,000 in there. But, I believe we can take 12,500 out of our fund balance. And, I think it's there. We have plenty of fund balance, and I think if we put 25 in this year instead of the 12,500, Mr. Agnetti said that they would be aggressive. So if they want this going in, and we can count, if he knows how much, we're going to do, that would be my thought. So bring that, sure.
All right, fantastic. How about you, Gary?
I feel the same way. Okay. Do we have enough to do both the Fred Mighty control and the
Yes.
drains?
Yes.
And I, definitely, I think everybody else
much do you want to put into the flag money?
Well, I was thinking if we put 5,000 in.
Mhm.
So Kathy had reminded me, like I said, we had about $8,000 left in that North Star account from when we did the driveway.
Yeah,
And that's liquid, so we could, pull that out if we wanted to put 5,000, let's say 2,500 or whatever. And then take 12.5, or if we wanted to do a little more on fund balance, we could. I feel like 12.5 is good.
yeah.
Okay.
So you're saying 25 total?
25 total, 12.5 total, we already have another 12.5 on fund balance. So we will be putting in 25,000 as a township, and then the county would hopefully put in more. Right?
I think that sounds reasonable, especially if we have it.
We need a motion to both items, or we can break them up into two different items.
We should bring
We
it
can
up to,
do, we can do them both right now, I think we should break them.
Okay.
We should separate.
yeah.
So I guess then, to start, a motion would be in order then to increase our drain budget from 12,500 to 25,000.
I would make the motion.
We support?
I support.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Roll call.
Sure. Cindy Greener.
Aye.
Elaine Walmstrap. Aye. Vern Coleman.
Aye.
Krista Rose.
Aye.
Kathy LaFontaine. Aye.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Next item, then we go into the flag money discussion. We have a motion to discuss.
Make the motion.
Support? I think we pretty much already discussed. Any further discussion on the flag money? Everybody's good with the presentation, any further questions? Then, hearing none, the motion would be ordered and to approve one.
I'll make the motion to approve the $5,000.
Thanks for that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Be safe and well.
Sure. Elaine Walmstrap. Aye. Cindy Greener.
Aye.
Kathy LaFontaine. Aye. Krista Rose.
Aye.
Vern Coleman.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, the motion is carried. Excellent. Moving on to the approval of the minutes from the April 10th, 2024 regular board meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes tonight?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
We have support?
Or,
All in favor, say aye. Okay, motion is carried, thank you. Next item we have is the consent agenda. Tonight we have the building department report, EMS report, office manager report, planning commission report. Is there anything anybody would like to move to the consent agenda tonight? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do you support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
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 The next item we have is the financial report. Has everybody had an opportunity to review their bills from the family? Any questions? No. Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve and pay bills as presented?
So moved.
Any support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item we have is the treasurer's report.
In the general fund fire funds, we have $1,685,865.53. Tax disbursement account, $72,703.77. Recreation funds, $438,338.32. Investment accounts, $245,902.29. North Star available funds, $7,795.98. The PDR account currently has $18,030.12, and the other accounts have $8,606.93.
Thank you so much. Any questions for the treasurer tonight? Treasurer's report? Hearing none, the treasurer's report will stand as presented. Thank you. Next item we have is the farmland preservation.
Yeah, our clerk is in the process of dealing with the state to get our reimbursement for our appraisal on first and all property and also for the closing costs. State building.
And he called and he said those are coming. He's got to put it.
And the appraisal will go back to the PDR and the closing costs will come back to our general. So as of right now, that's all that's going on.
Okay. Any further questions for Bert? All right, thank you, Bert. We'll move on to building report. Jeff's not here tonight, but are there any building issues the board would like to
money, but I didn't want to mention that. I reached out to Jeff. I said, is there anything we should know? He said, just that Chuck's doing a great job. I said, okay, I will bring that up.
It's good to know. I'll stop and see him and make sure he knows that too.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Next item we have tonight is the assessor's report. Is there anything anybody would like me to take back to your team this month? Hearing none, we'll move on to the library report.
Okay, so I do have some things to update you on the library. They have a new resource, and if you can access it through the library link or even through the city of Richmond. So if you have a library card, you can go on and read the newspapers for all of the newspapers, like the Detroit News, the Macomb Daily, the USA Today, and it has full images and everything. You just have to put your library card number in. So you can access it and read them all if you want. So that's new. And then we are part of this DIA's Inside Out program. So there's going to be there's a Vincent Van Gogh, yes, painting that's going to be, we are hosting, which is kind of cool. It's the first time we've ever done that. So that's kind of nice. And then summer reading program starts, the sign-up starts May 20th. Doesn't start till June, but there'll be more to come on that. And they had a leaders food collection that they gathered 4,100 pounds of food. Yeah, so that was good. That's all for the library report.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Elaine before we move on? All right, we'll let you Elaine. Next item we have is the recreation report.
So, first of all, I just want to mention that the kite flying contest was originally scheduled for September 21st, but we had to move it to the 28th so that the big kite company could come and, we thought it would be worth it. It seemed like they were a big draw and pulled people off the street, so we did move it. Secondly, we are having the Recreation Commission meeting. We will meet with you folks next Wednesday. I have invited our engineer and our planner to be there, so if we have any questions, they can. I don't believe, where is their planning commission meeting next Wednesday? There's not, is there? No, so if you go over the hour, we should be fine.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Yep. I did contact Steve Casson, and he did put a survey out. We were thinking at our last board meeting, all the rage now, I guess, seems to be for pickleball, and I thought, before we came and talked to you folks, we should try again to get a survey of the people that live here and see what they like. And we had 48 respondents, and basically they like the same thing now that they liked when we did our recreation play the first time. So I'm super happy we did that, because we were thinking a couple pickleball courts and maybe some soccer fields, but those were the lowest two on their list. So yeah, right. So anyways, I'm looking forward to the meeting next Wednesday and kind of getting direction from everybody up here, input, and go from there.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions specific recreation? You're thinking everybody, so make sure. All right, well, thank you. Next item we have tonight is the MEMC report.
Okay, I'm just looking over the notes for the MEMC meeting because I was not at that meeting. And what I've noticed on here was there's a lot of talk about videoing the graduations, but people are unable to do that. So we're still looking for some people or someone to come to start videoing. Still looking for people for that. And just we're updating on like getting in a computer and things like that. But that was the main thing that I took away from that. Did we get anyone? Can you tell me that?
Armada ended up, we weren't able to do them anyhow because they moved to Jimmy John Field and they had their own video thing going on there. Memphis, I'm not sure. I tried to get a hold of somebody and I never got an answer back. I can't do it. It's on the same day as the Eastern Market Flower Day, so I'm out on that. And New Haven, we discussed it, but nobody had talked to them early enough, so we're not doing New Haven this year. I don't.
So there's not a conflict, but we still need people to take.
Definitely we need people to take, yeah. because because there would have been, if we had to do all three of those, we would have been short. Yes.
All right, we have one new taker, correct?
We're getting one, hopefully, new
There's
takers.
a train.
And he's actually gonna be graduating, so he can't take that.
Oh, I can't see that, we're a little busy. All right, so we're still looking, in case anyone is interested in that. And that is it.
Okay, any questions for Elaine on any of these? Okay, hearing none, thank you, Elaine.
You're welcome.
Hearing none, we'll move on to unfinished business. And the first item we have is bridge funding update. I don't have anything new on that. Have you heard anything from
I
anybody?
heard nothing, no, nothing more.
I haven't either.
When I saw it on there, I'm like, maybe Chris or something, no, I've heard nothing.
I'd keep it on for a little while. I feel like it's gonna surface maybe this summer, looking ahead to next year. So I think we'll just revisit it. If nothing, we'll move on. But I'll keep it on for a little bit. Okay, nothing on that. Next item is the GFL discussion.
You know, I do have results, however, I don't have them for you.
Okay.
I can get them, but I do have the results. The results were like 10% of the people who did take this survey were looking for a change, but the majority of the people who took the survey was very, to keep the same, to keep our pickup the same and as it currently is, which is pickup and recycling weekly.
How long have we had that running? It's been about 2 weeks?
Just a week.
Just a week. Do you think we should let it run a little longer?
Only 10%. Yeah.
So far, I mean,
There is a hiccup. The hiccup to this is that we're going to have to pay to get more people to be able to do this survey. And initially, the survey wasn't working as it should have been working. It wasn't accessing the people who voted, who chose to vote for the every other week recycling. So I'm assuming that it's still accurate only because of the range of the people that voted for every other week was such a small number in comparison. You would have to pay the survey for that specific survey monkey would cost us money to allow for more voting.
okay. Do you think we just leave it run the way it is for now, or do we need to pay to upgrade
We
it?
have to pay.
Did you get it right?
Yeah, it's like $1,000. Ooh.
And I think that's.
Because I tried to get it for only 1 month and it wouldn't let me do it for first. So that's what I saw.
So did you-
We went to for a year long.
And would that be like as many surveys as you want
Oh, yeah.
to do? Is there,
I can get you the information on that if you'd like to see that. I can send it to you. And I can probably pull it up on this right now, but
do you know of any other
there are
platforms that
other,
do that?
there are other platforms to do surveys like that. And I didn't look into them because I've used SurveyMonkey in the
And
past.
you know how, yeah.
So, but I have noticed that we do have other ones that we could use. And I think that we can even use a Google form for that.
Yeah, it's one.
So we could just use Google Forms, which we necessarily don't have to pay for that.
I like that.
So we can do that.
Let's put this GFL discussion off till next, we'll keep it on there for next
Yeah.
one. In the meantime, we'll see if we can get.
Do you want me
something.
to, I can revamp it and
You're
make
okay
it
with
a,
that?
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
We have time on that, so I just want to make sure we get a good cross section of it.
Right, right. And get it out there for longer
Yes,
would be great.
for sure, for sure. Okay.
So for anybody who doesn't know, there will be an updated version of the garbage recycling survey come up. It will be pasted.
So does that mean we vote again?
Yeah, I would, well, why not, right? Because it's gonna be a new survey, so if your vote was the, sure, I would say yes, yeah.
The new platform, absolutely.
Right.
Excellent. Any more on the GFL before we move on? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the next item, the Macomb County Animal Control Best Practices. I think where we left off on that, he was supposed to get us some information.
I was gonna ask if you got
Have you
it.
received anything? I haven't either, I know you had to ask some questions, I'm gonna check with you.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, I will make that he's able to reach out to him tomorrow to find out. Yeah, I think we were gonna use that as a deciding factor. Any questions, I'm gonna ask specifically since we're gonna put all that around.
Double check with them, that do we, you mentioned that we have very little on it, but when we adopt this, will that trump ours?
will ours go stay in conjunction with it, or are we gonna have to renew ours? As a,
Check on animal.
yeah.
Well, are we adopted, isn't it the old one, the really long time ago ordinance that we had? Isn't that, did we talk about that?
Yeah, but I didn't know if we adopt his, can we still keep ours? Is all I want to know. Or do we have to, is one gonna have to replace one?
I
Which I
think if we adopt it as an amendment, but if you just adopt it as a new one, you can keep the old one too, but I don't know if we would do that. I don't know.
I'll ask that question.
It's,
Yeah, okay, we'll have more information on that also, see if we can't wrap it up. Okay, nothing else under unfinished business, we'll go down to new business. First order we have is the approval of the fiscal year 24-25 General Appropriations Act, General Fund Budget. We had some discussion about increasing the drain costs and adding the crack money, that would be from our proposed budget with the crack money, correct?
when money comes over.
Would that be over?
That money's coming out of the bank.
Yes, I would think that we would then put $17,500 in additional income from fund balance. And then we would add another 12,500 to the drain expenditures and 5,000 to the recovery expenditure. Is what I would say. Other than that, we to adopt the budget with those amendments.
That's where I'm going with it. Before we adopt it with those amendments.
Yep.
Okay. So the motion would be in order then to approve the 24-25 General Appropriations Act and General Fund Budget with the amendments to include
Additional income of $17,500 to come from fund balance, and additional expenditures, another $12,500 to go to drains, and $5,000 to go to freight lines.
motion on the table, any support?
That's correct.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any roll call vote?
Yeah. That was, yeah, Cindy, then Elaine, so Cindy Rita,
Aye.
Elaine Waterstrat,
Aye.
Vern Coleman,
Aye.
Chris DeVos.
Aye.
Kevin Levante,
It's okay. All right, motion's passed. Thank you. Next item we have is the approval of resolution 2024-03, establishing township supervisor salary at $29,451. We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
With support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item, we have approval of resolution 2024-04, establishing township clerk salary at $29,451. Is there a motion?
I make that motion.
With support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item we have the approval of resolution 2024-05, establishing township treasurer salary at $29,451. I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Support? Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item we have the approval of resolution 2024-06, establishing township trustee salary at $68,441. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item we have is the approval of newspaper designation. Recommending that the Township Board approves the North Macomb Voice and Macomb Daily as Richmond Township's newspaper of general circulation for fiscal year 24-25.
I'll make that motion.
Any support? Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item we have is the approval of resolution 2024-07, EMS Week Proclamation, to designate the week of May 19th through May 27th, 2024 as Emergency Medical Services Week. So motion?
So moved.
Support? Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You want to do?
Are you talking about that right now?
No, well, this is what we're going to do. I was going to ask what the board would like to do this year.
We did,
The guys did before.
yeah, deli bars, there's 6 in a box, 13.80 box.
Okay.
We don't know how many boxes.
This week, that'd be a good job.
Okay, no, last year it was like $100 so.
I said, what if we needed like 10 boxes? 15 boxes.
Do they have?
No. Cherry. Gotcha.
You don't remember how many different ones? I think there's only 3. There's the cherry, and then the butterscotch or something, and then
You're right.
so are you guys good if we get one of each
Yeah.
flavor for each station? And then we have 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have
So
4
3
stations.
times 4.
So what, maybe $30 a piece for 5 of us?
So they're $13.80
$30?
for a box, and 6 in a box.
And now you have 4 stations to buy from.
So you want them to? Okay. It's 14 times 4.
I think 4 is
Can't do nothing.
172 bucks, something like that.
Serious? Okay.
So $30 is not going to be enough for each of us because that's only going to be 150 bucks.
35.
So 35.
Okay.
Who are we giving the money to?
35 per person. Do you want me to do it? I'll pay for that.
Mine?
Across the street.
For sure? Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. All right, moving on, then we will go to the approval of resolution 2024-08, the Richmond Township Investment and Depository Designation. Need a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Support? Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Down to items for next agenda. We'll definitely have the fire EMS budget second public hearing. Everything left on unfinished business. We'll pretty much move on there, I think.
You putting Dan on here, or is he putting in August?
He's gonna come.
We could put the drainage,
Yeah.
we could put the drainage on there, well, in case there's updates on anything.
Yeah.
But they're still working on some of that.
Sure, we can leave that on there.
Yeah. You got the animal control, thing you need to put back on there.
Hopefully, he hasn't GFL surveyed by then.
Yeah, GFL, so, yeah.
Okay, well, if anybody has anything, you know how to reach us. Okay, call the board.
I would like to begin tonight by thanking Christine for all the help she gave me during the settlement process. God bless her. She's a good soul. Some days would text her in the middle of the day, text her about an hour later, and I'm sure there's times she just wants to ghost. I do also think it might be worth it for us to try to investigate the special assessment district. I know I've got a couple of them, one in Fraser and one when I was in Algonac, and I mean, it might be worth getting a group together to talk about, you know, group of garbage together to see if they're interested. You know, the hard part might be, like you said, you gotta get 51% of the residents that live there. If there's a bunch of houses where people are not as invested in our drains being cleaned out as the farming community, I don't know where that will go, but if they might be willing to go out and get signatures on the petitions.
Are they talking about 51% of the people or 51% of the land?
People, all the drainage.
Land would make more sense because
Well, they charge by the land.
They charge by the land.
Yeah.
So much on the land, we made them.
I believe it's land appropriation because some will own a bigger tributary
Yeah.
to the drain, and they will have the largest assessment. All that noise that you heard, that was going through that program. So that program been in existence for a long time. So it's basically if there's no immediate program to clean the drain, the property owners can certainly petition the drain office at any time, and they will go collect the signatures. The drain office will come up with the cost estimate, and these owners will see an approximate cost for the next 10 years. And if that goes through, then they go forward with the project. That's always been available. And we've heard a lot of interest outside.
Yeah, I think it might behoove us to get together with some of them, invite them, and just,
Well, something else I was thinking too, when we were talking, I was talking to Bert about it, is maybe it's time to establish a drain committee. And if it can be made up of some local farmers and they can work with the drain commission and then have almost like recreation where the board member can be a liaison until when they come up with something, bring it to the board.
yeah,
And it might be time to do something
I
like
think
that.
it might be.
And then they could work with the drain commission about the that special assessment also.
And then they would report to the board.
Right.
All good things. Okay,
That's it.
okay, thank you.
Is this the time where we just say whatever we want to say? Well, I just would like to say thank you for the opportunity to go to the MTA conference. This is the second one, the second time I've gone, so learning a lot of things, and I think it's really important to keep updated.
Thank you for going, and letting me know.
Yeah, it's great.
Any more call on the board? Okay. Hearing none, we got general public comment.
I like it.
Pat Barkowitz. I am here to talk about the integrity of our voting in our state and some news that I had heard this week. So Senator Jim Runstead reported on a new bill in Michigan, and it is SB 603, and it repeals the current law number 61, which gives bipartisan county boards of canvassers the authority to investigate fraud and other wrongdoing, including ballot tampering during recounts. So it's repealing that law. With the passage, there will be no future route for requesting a recount if you believe there was fraud. Under the Senate bill, candidates will be prohibited from requesting a recount if they suspect fraud, and is designed to stop investigations of election fraud by the Board of Canvassers. This bill will now permit clerks to recount ballots even if seals are broken on ballot containers. The bill changes the standard for a candidate or party to petition for a recount of election results from alleging that there has been a mistake or fraud in the process to now only permitting alleging there has been an error. You cannot use mistake or fraud. So even if a candidate or party is absolutely convinced there was fraud, this cannot be alleged or investigated. This bill makes it tougher to do a recount by doubling the recount petition fees and making it a felony to interfere with a recount without any clear definition of what that means to open up more lawfare. If passed as is, the language is changed to prohibit a recount, investigate or audit of the conduct of an election when fraud is alleged to only a determination of the number of votes cast for one candidate or another or a ballot question. Lastly, the bill says a recount could not assess the qualifications of the voters participating in an election or the manner in which ballots are applied for and issued to voters. So if illegals or dead people or those not registered in Michigan are voting, we cannot assess the qualification of those voters or the manner in which those ballots were applied for and issued to these voters. More bills are coming. SB 401, 402, 403, 404, 604, all are to change our election laws. Besides concern for this bill, I would like you to consider going to paper ballots and counted. I will work for free. I have sent Kathy and Lori many articles about election fraud in the 2020 to 2022 election in Michigan. I am no way saying we have fraud in our township. However, after our information is sent to the county, I do not know if it still is not manipulated. Paper ballots hand counted can't be changed. Thank you. Election integrity is so important all the time, and Michigan election fraud is documented over and over. I would like our township to be an example for paper ballots.
I can get them mailed in when they need to go. And we want to restore local control. Power back to you guys. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other general public comments tonight? Okay, hearing none, the motion to adjourn the order.